Welcome to the Equity Plus podcast from CareShare Health Alliance. I'm your host, Erin Story, Director of Communications here at CareShare. In this episode, we'll hear a conversation between our Director of Innovation and Capacity Building, Jalah Clayton, our former Director of Community Engagement, Shaunessy Lofton, and our inaugural interns for our Equitable Health Leadership Pathways program, Jasmine, Riddle, and Claire Hopkins, about their experiences with both being mentors and mentees while at CareShare Health Alliance. So let's get started and have our guests introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine Riddle, and I was an intern with CareShare during the spring of 2023. I'm now currently obtaining my master's of public health at UNCG.
Hey y'all, my name is Claire Hopkins, and I too was an intern during spring 2023. Right now, I'm currently looking for a career in the public health field.
Thanks, Claire. And you have me here, Shaunessy, the Director of Community Engagement here at CareShare Health Alliance, hanging out with the interns and Jalah, kind of having this conversation about the significance of mentorship when it comes to internship experiences.
My name is Jalah Clayton. I serve as the Director of Innovation and Capacity Building here with CareShare, and Shaunessy and I have kind of co-created the Equitable Health Leadership Pathways program and have the joy of hosting Claire and Jasmine last spring. So to get into a little bit of the development of Equitable Health Leadership Pathways program, Shaunessy, do you want to help me out in talking about how we came about the program?
So before I got here, I think there were some conversations in the Health Equity Committee, which is a wonderful committee at CareShare. And there were some conversations around kind of similar to like a pipeline or a pathway program for HBCUs, students kind of developing that network around BIPOC communities, kind of coming together to really strategically support one another, but then also have lookalike. Outcomes are always different, a lot better when you have people that look like you in positions that you want to be in order for it to seem a little bit more attainable. And so upon that, Jalah and I have been strategizing and have conversations about what's the next, what program can we create that would kind of capture that. And we kind of took a spin on it and decided to look at MSIs and HBCUs because MSIs also have a designation signifying that they have about 25% of their population at least that comes from the BIPOC community. So Jalah and I wanted to create a program that not only gave students experiences, but also focused on systemic accountability when it comes to the universities as we think about students being placed into internships, into practicums, and then also ensuring that they have equitable experiences that are what they need in that stage, and then kind of helping them transition to the space, because generally, like in school, you're not taught to be prepared to work. You're taught to do the work or the concept of understanding, but that applied practice happens when you get out in the field. And so here at CareShare, our hope is that we could create an experience that will allow students to have a space for applied practice in an equitable space where students could then thrive. And then that would then translate further to experience when it's time to apply for jobs upon graduation.
That was a great explanation and overview. And I love too what you said about, the systemic accountability and really placing students at the center of the model from which we developed the framework for Equitable Health Leadership Pathways program. And I think too, just in thinking of, what makes the program different from an internship that a student might experience somewhere else is we're really trying to be intentional about equipping students that come through our internship program with the knowledge to go out and then hold our other systems accountable. So while the model is shaped around holding educational institutions accountable to the student to give them practicum experiences, like Shaunessy was saying, that are actually transferable to the field and not just pushing papers or getting coffee, the typical, stereotypical intern type thing. But they're transferable experiences that equip students to be ready to go into the system, ready to dismantle white supremacy culture, ready to ask those hard questions and have challenging conversations, and then also ensure that they're able to advocate for themselves both personally and professionally, and to advocate for showing up as their authentic self, recognizing that their lived experience is sometimes more valuable walking into a room than a certain type of degree or a certain type of accolade or things that, unfortunately, I think as our healthcare system has developed, those things are prioritized sometimes over people's lived experience. That leads to health disparity. So really trying to be intentional in the development of the program. And it's been so awesome to see the alignment of CareShare's strategic plan and mission and values come through in Equitable Health Leadership Pathways program. But this is also our perspective as the individuals who got it off the ground and running. Claire and Jasmine, we'd love to hear from you. And, if you could just describe what your experience was like being a part of EHLPP.
Being a part of this internship with CareShare was really beneficial to me. From the start, I knew that I really wanted to join this organization. Both Shaunessy and Jalah came into our classroom, talked about the internship. They discussed that it was paid, which is really helpful, especially if you're going to school full time and trying to pay bills and whatnot. Just the fact that they came into our classroom was enough for me because it showed that they really cared about who their interns are and that they really care about their organization as a whole. From the start, I just knew that Jalah and Shaunessy were going to be very helpful because I always lacked confidence in finding my career or just being professional. And from the start, they just explained exactly what we'd be doing in our internship, and it aligned with what we've been doing in class. As a whole, public health is all about helping people, and they made sure to help us in our careers aside from just doing the work as an internship. They always treat us like regular people and not like someone that's just doing busy work or putting a lot of work on us. Overall, it was just a great experience, and I'm glad that I was able to do my internship with them.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with Claire. The experience was definitely like no other internship or job experience that I had before. Like she said, Shaunessy and Jalah focused on just like giving us busy work or having us there to see what we could do for the organization. They actually took time to see how the organization and themselves could pour into us and helped us to build those professional development skills, the self-confidence, and just like to be our true authentic self and to know that we have skills that are important and are valuable and we bring a lot to the table. And it was already in us. They just helped us get it out through like the different experiences that we did. So yeah, all in all, it was a really good experience. I enjoyed my time at CareShare. I wouldn't have wanted to do my internship nowhere else. Yeah, and a lot of the things that I've learned, I've took that with me. Like I can advocate for myself now with people who are in positions of power and feel like I'm doing the right thing and I have that place to do that. Even though I'm obtaining my master's right now, they've helped me to feel confident when I am ready to start applying for jobs and getting into that workforce because I know that there is somewhere in public health for me.
During you all's experiences, as far as mentorship, I heard Claire mention earlier, we kind of told y'all what to do and things like that. But I would also push that we encourage y'all to have like autonomous space for learning and really be independent and take the initiative in some spaces. And so I would love to hear more about that experience.
I can speak to that a little bit because how the internship was set up, it was set up in phases. And so like in the first phase, y'all did kind of hold our hand a lot and guided us. But then once we hit the second phase, y'all was like, okay, we gave y'all the skills. Now it's time to see what y'all can do with them. And so I think that's when we really took initiative with the Equity Plus resource map. And at first I was like, what are they doing? Why do they have me doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. But then once I started actually reaching out to organizations and talking with different like directors and just people over different community-based organizations across North Carolina, I'm like, okay, this actually isn't that hard. And we know what to do. They've got us to this point. And so now it's just up to us to keep going. And so that was really cool. Like that helped gain the confidence even more because we did have the opportunity to just do things on our own and then actually be entrusted to do work that was like actually going to be presented for the organization on the website. It's like, okay, wow. And now I can go back and look at it and see like, okay, I contributed to this. And so that was just really cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jasmine. As she said, moving to the second phase and just being independent with our work, it really challenged me in a lot of ways. We had to do outreach to other nonprofit organizations. And I also facilitated a meeting. And it just really brought me to this perspective of, okay, this is what a career could look like. And it also gave me room to like grow as myself and actually step out of my comfort zone.
Jalah and I, like at the end of you all's experience, we was just like, wow, they have grown. And it's like time waits on no one. Like 10 weeks went by really, really fast. And it was just like, dang, we just got into, we were just getting into it good. And there it goes, graduation. And so just wondering, what do you believe that your experience will afford you now, like in your next phase of life? Earlier, Jasmine said how she's able to advocate for herself when she's uncomfortable to employers, and that was a skill that she kind of conditioned and grew confidence. Was there other skills that you all believe that y'all gained throughout the experience that y'all could take?
I think definitely showing up as your authentic self. When you hear the word professional, like maintain yourself in a professional manner, your mind goes to like one look of how that should be. But really, like you can be yourself and still be professional. And you don't have to whitewash yourself just to fit into a professional space. You can come in with your own dialect and with your own just your own self, and you can be accepted for that. And so I think a lot of times I used to when I would go into interviews, I would try to change how I talk or shy away from experiences that made me me. But that's what makes me me, and that's what brings my values to the table, and that's what sets me apart from other people. So being able to be myself and stay true to that in all areas, including the professional one, that's definitely something that I've took from this internship. And I'm not in the professional world yet, but I'm definitely using that in the master's program that I'm in. Also, I'll say too, not limiting yourself, because public health is really broad. And that was something that I struggled with before coming into this internship and even after that. But working with CareShare and seeing what they do and the technical assistance they provide to other nonprofit organizations, and just being exposed to different things like the Minority Health Conference and all the people and organizations that were there. It just shows you that there's so much to public health. It's not just one bubble. There's just so much that you could do with that.
Yeah, I agree with Jasmine, because being authentic and still understanding that you can still be professional was something that I didn't understand until working with CareShare. They explained that we're going to school, we're doing the work, we know what we're doing, you just gotta believe in yourself a little bit. So they helped me do that and stop. One thing I said all the time was I don't know the answer, but they helped me realize that's not a way of thinking. You do know. There's a lot of knowledge that I don't realize I have, and so they just helped me instill confidence in myself.
I've just been sitting over here, Shaunessy, and your last couple of questions. Hearing about your experience is also so mutually rewarding for us. And one, it has been awesome. Just the quality of this internship experience has afforded us a long-term sustainable relationship with our interns. So Claire and Jasmine, I know we do our check-ins on LinkedIn and other spaces and email, and yeah, but it's really cool to just see you all continuing to blossom. And for Shaunessy and I, in the development of the program, we're not too far from graduation time, or from the time that we graduated from our respective, academic programs. And so, yeah, not too long ago that we were in y'all's shoes and thinking through the questions that we had that we didn't necessarily have answers to, or the people that we needed to just speak life into us and speak affirmation into us. One, is it not only rewarding to hear and reflect on hearing y'all say what you've taken away from this experience, but also to just be able to show up as a mentor is super rewarding. And being able to show up as a mentor that is intentional in that way, that now you all, not because it's not just about professionally. And I'll say this too, we're all women on the call, being able to go and take up space in the world is a big deal. The growth that you all have accomplished in such a short amount of time is not a small feat. And then seeing the seeds that were planted in you all in that time continue to blossom and continue to just carry you in your life is, it just fills my heart, warms my heart. I got goosebumps over here. I'm just super proud of you all, and it's super rewarding to see.
I know I was asking questions, but also just listening to you all and just the maturity of the statements that y'all are making is just so rewarding when you've worked with someone. And I know we didn't have a lot of time with y'all, but I feel like the time that we did have really did make an impact, if it was personally or professionally. I think one thing that I enjoyed the most is also getting to know you all as women first, because that then informs how you show up in your spaces as an intern. And just because you had an internship requirement didn't take away you having a lived experience. And so I really like that we had that space where people felt empowered, where you all felt empowered to share, to help us understand where you are today. And so I'm just really grateful that, you know, you all felt safe in these spaces, because we know in 2023, we can no longer say, oh, this is a safe space. This is more so a brave space, and it's up to you, you know, on how brave you're going to be, but just really trusting us in that space. I think also as a mentor, it was so significant for me to really show up in the way that I needed someone to show up for me. When I was in undergrad, first generation, young, pretty much trying to figure it out. I want better, so I'm doing better, but like it's kind of like trial and error. And so I was able to resonate a little bit differently because of the lived experience of really just understanding, like, I know what I needed when I was in you all space. And because Jayla and I are graduates of the program out of the department and having familiarity, I think one thing that really did help is the relationship that we have with the institution and the institutional investment in the relationship with us, because a lot of organizations have established partnerships for interns to come, but don't really have a true relationship with the university that they're hosting interns from.
One thing you guys said all the time was if it's in our capacity. And that was really helpful to me, because it just showed like you actually care about our personal life instead of just, hey, get all this done or do that. You understand that we have another life outside of work, and it was just really healing to know that y'all cared about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. It definitely made a difference. And then Shaunessy, from when you were talking, you had mentioned like being a first gen student, how you were kind of going from what you needed when you were in undergrad. And I think that really made a difference too, because I can relate to that as a first gen student, not really feeling like you have that support, or like even if you have the support, it doesn't feel like the support understands you or can support you in the capacity that you need them to. And so knowing that y'all went through the same program that we did, and then that y'all have lived experiences that are similar to the ones that we've had, or even if they're not similar, you've had experiences that allow you to understand the experiences that we went through. It made a difference. And like Claire said, it made me feel more confident and comfortable in being in the space with y'all, because it's like, okay, I'm seeing them and I see that they did it. So even when I was down myself, it's like, okay, they did it, so I can definitely do it too. And then like how just the way that y'all always poured into us, that helped build that confidence too. And so that was really like meaningful and impactful for me. Like we were talking about women in the field, public health is saturated with women, but like I feel like higher ed is not really saturated with women mentors. And so just being granted this opportunity and knowing that it didn't just stop at the internship, but that it keeps going, that like I can text y'all and y'all will be there to give me advice, or y'all are there sending us job openings because y'all know that we need that and are looking. It's like, okay, wow, like they really care for us, and y'all just pouring us into so many different ways. And I know I would not have got that from another internship experience. So that just really made a difference.
And something you said too, Jasmine, about specifically like having someone with either a similar lived experience or who can relate to your lived experience, like how valuable that is for you as a student on the level of academia, and like, but in thinking of public health settings or healthcare settings, or you're, you know, in a doctor's office, and your provider can more closely relate to your lived experience, meaning they're able to give you more culturally competent and quality care, you know, like that's the difference too. And the piece that we're really trying to get, especially for public health, in the field of public health, as there are so many, you know, innovations across the country that are trying to bridge more public health spaces with our clinical care setting. Yeah, getting that message across, because I think it's a really important piece to this discussion we're having here, but also like to that larger piece of if we can prepare leaders that are going into healthcare or healthcare adjacent, or have settings where they have the ability to make those policy and operational decisions about what's happening in clinical care settings, that can really make a difference for people who are not getting the care that they deserve just because they're not having providers or not having people making decisions about their health that actually understand their lived experience. I would love to hear like anybody's thoughts about people that are preceptors or that are mentors or that are providers of internship experiences. What would you want to share with someone who's going to prepare to be an internship provider? What's one thing, I guess, from this conversation that you would want to share with someone who's preparing to be a mentor?
Just like Shaunessy said, like how you should really just put yourself into someone's shoes. Think of how you were when you needed help, or how would you want to be mentored. I think that really helps the internee because it gives us trust and it helps just have a relationship and understand like where each other came from.
Yeah. And then two, also Claire kind of touched on it earlier, but just like understanding that interns, like we're not just little machines, we're people too. And like students have a lot going on. We're in school, a lot of us work, and then plus doing an internship when thankfully this experience was a paid experiences, but most internships out there still aren't paid. And so just be mindful of like the tasks that you're giving your interns and how they're showing up, and then just being willing to say like, are you going through something? Is there something that I could do? So yeah, just remembering that they're human, and then also just like setting your clear expectations for what you want from that intern and asking them what they want out of the experience as well, so that it's a mutual experience and not just one-sided. I think that'll really make a difference.
I have to agree as a mentor and someone who has been mentored, so a mentee as well, and still continue to be mentored. I think the significance of really just understanding who people are in mentorship and not what you think people are, allowing people to really embrace their lived experience and share it, not in a space of, I want you to feel guilty or bad for me or anything, but more so, this is how this shapes my perspective. And I think that makes a more authentic relationship between a mentor and a mentee.
Wholeheartedly agree. And that authenticity piece, I think every industry could do more with, but especially in the field of public health or, nonprofit, healthcare, social care. I think it's such an important skill to really hone how you are developing authentic relationship, how you are really seeing the humanity in the people that you're working with or working alongside, and how this is also something. So from when we went to go visit the class at UNCG that Claire, I think you were mentioning earlier, where you all first heard us come and talk about the program. The professor that we were speaking with in the process of like becoming preceptors for the internship, she had shared with us that her students in the class, I think you guys had done some sort of activity, but basically had come to the finding that you all thought of empathy as your superpower. And that like has been something that has just stuck with me so much. And yeah, like we should absolutely see empathy as a superpower, and we should absolutely use that to fuel our work and our connection to others and our prioritizing providing culturally competent care and assistance, and just being better neighbors and better participants within that community care of one another. It all starts with empathy. So I love that was coming up from the generation of students that you all are, and I hope that we just continue to see that message kind of spread across generations, like the generations to come and the generations older than us that we still, we got to work with them and do jobs with them and get hired by them. So hopefully they're also understanding of that piece around empathy. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Really appreciate you, Claire and Jasmine, for being here today and sharing your time with us today and your experience. And I want to open it up for any last thoughts or feelings or reactions before we close it out. So Claire and Jasmine, anything else you want to leave the audience with?
I'll say this internship also helped me a lot with like understanding and defining values that I hold or that I'm looking for within an organization that I work with in the future. Like a lot of things that y'all do, like the disrupting white supremacy culture. And even when we would do small things like walk-in meetings, sometimes those type of things help shape the internship experience as well, along with you and Shaunessy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say thank you for all you guys did for us, and just even having us back and being able to talk about our experience shows that you guys really care about what you do and you care if we succeed or not. So I just really appreciate that from y'all as an organization.
Thank you to CareShare. Thank you to y'all, ultimately, because, if it weren't for y'all, we wouldn't have any intern, wouldn't be no internship. So thank y'all for being along on this ride with us and for being here for this episode today.
Thanks for listening to the Equity Plus podcast, and special thanks again to Jasmine and Claire for joining us to share their experiences working at CareShare. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to hear more from community leaders and community-based organizations in North Carolina about how they're working to advance health equity. To learn more about CareShare Health Alliance, visit us at caresharehealth.org, and don't forget to check out our hub for community-based organizations working to promote health equity and community voice, the Equity Plus Network, at equitypn.org. That is EQUITYPN.org. We can't wait to connect with you there.